All right, welcome. So the next set of questions tells you to use some identities on page 422. I looked at the problems. I can't in good conscience use those identities. So I can't teach you to use them. You can look at them if you want it, but we're going to show how to do these problems the way you'll actually do them. Okay, so number 64. Number 64 says you're going to take the cosine of pi over 6 plus the inverse cosine of square root of 3 over 2. Okay? And so the way that I'm going to teach you to do these, I'm going to say, let's just actually find out the inverse cosine is, wait a second, that should be negative here. Let's just actually do this. So we're going to start by taking inverse cosine of negative square root of 3 over 2. Again, we go here. Okay, negative square root of 3 over 2. That's an x value. That's pretty much over here, right? 5 pi over 6. Okay, so that's 5 pi over 6. And now you're just going to go here and go cosine pi over 6 plus 5 pi over 6 cosine of pi equals negative 1. Okay, let's go to number 80. Okay, and we're going to find the sine of the cosine inverse of 3/4. Okay, so now this is almost the exact type of thing, but what we're gonna have to do, we're gonna have to draw a little triangle here. Okay, so we're gonna draw a triangle. Excuse me. Okay, so now where does our triangle live? Now, because we're using inverse cosine, that means that we have our triangle either in the first or second quadrant. Okay, so inverse cosine of something means first or second quadrant. Okay, think about it in terms of like I drew my inverse cosine unit circle part in the top part of the unit circle. Okay. Similarly, if I have inverse sine of something, I would be in the first or fourth quadrants. And same with inverse tangent, actually. We haven't talked about inverse tangent, but that's going to actually follow the same signs as inverse sine. Okay? Okay. So we're going to draw, in this case, we're looking at first and second quadrant. Because it's positive, we're going to draw it in the first quadrant. Our triangle has adjacent over hypotenuse being 3 over 4. So that means this y is going to be the square root of 16 minus 9 is the square root of 7. And now we take the sine is just going to be opposite over hypotenuse, square root of 7 over 4. Okay, let's do another one. Let's do 84. Let's take y equals the sine of the tan inverse of 13 over 5. Okay, so again, we're going to draw our triangle. Now, really, if this number here inside the furthest inside is positive, you're going to be in the first quadrant. Okay, so because you're going to either be in the first or fourth because you're taking inverse tan, and it's positive, so it's going to be the first quadrant. So we'll draw our triangle. Opposite over adjacent is 13 over 5. Okay. And then hypotenuse is what? 169 plus 25. And I can't do math today. Let me just double check because I'm feeling the stupids today. So this is the square root of 194. Okay. So what's the sine of this angle? The angle's here. The sine is 13 over the square root of 194. Which we, of course, rationalize. And I sort of have a feeling I can simplify that. So 194 is 2 times 97. 97, I'm pretty sure, is prime, so we're stuck with that. Okay. All right, give me just a second. Gotta get a little more lighting for myself. Okay. Let's continue. 86. Actually, I'm going to go and skip to 90. Okay. So, in 90, y equals tangent of the cosecant inverse of -2. Okay, so y equals tangent of the cosecant inverse of -2. Yeah, that'll do. Okay, so cosecant, remember, is 1 over sine, right? So I could think about this as y equals the tangent of the sine inverse of, if cosecant is -2, then sine is -1/2. Okay, so now it's negative and it's sine. That means I'm going to draw it in the fourth quadrant. Okay, so think about it again. So remember the sine inverse. When I think about it, I think about this in the first and fourth quadrants. Okay, so negative angles are in the fourth quadrant. Okay, now, where was I? Gotta find this x. This x is going to be what? 4 square root of 3. That's the square root of 4 minus 1, right? Because we're taking this squared minus this squared square root. Okay, so now what is the tangent of this angle? Well, it's just going to be -1 over square root of 3. Or if we rationalize it, negative square root of 3 over 3. Okay? All right. That's it for 4.6. I will see you all in the next set of videos.